and a host of local businesses and friends. And
do you have a Grand Marshal?
Yes, you're looking at him.
Oh, you're the Grand Marshal. Yeah. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, no wonder why they put you on the show. They made him the Grand Marshal this year. Well, that's good, Stanley. Yeah. And the Grand Marshal of the E-Port Pride Day, I know there's not too many sponsors because it's always been a grassroots organization from the port, especially when the port was struggling over 20 years ago with housing issues. And it was Take Pride in E-Port.
Exactly.
So who's the Grand Marshal this year?
This year we have Detective Leon Davis and Jessica Toplowski.
And tell us why they were picked.
Well, Leon is a unique find. He grew up there in the port area. He's a lifelong resident, and he's gone to now coach football, and he's given back a lot of different ways in the port community, and he's made it as a positive role model as a police officer. And Jessica is also someone who grew up in the port area, very active in the community, very active in her church, and she's also someone who gives back quite a bit to the E-Port community.
I think it's great that you've nominated people who not only live there and work there and maybe moved a little bit away, but still come back and help out in the E-Port community. And Stanley, you've been extremely active in the Haitian community, not only their cultural, but their religious, their educational, and their political aspects. So congratulations on that honor. Have you ever been the Grand Marshal of anything, Alonzo?
Believe it or not, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
You were a Grand Marshal in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Well, for what?
For their parade, Martin Luther King Day Parade. And we had to throw candy out into the crowd as we drove by.
And you were?
And I thought it was just a unique experience because, you know, people were standing there and they said, "You didn't bring candy?" I said, "No, no one told me to bring candy." So we had to stop the parade. They had to go out and get me some candy, and I'm sitting there with these 2 bags of candy.
Now, why were you in Lake Charles, Louisiana to be the Grand Marshal? Because you're an Elizabeth kid.
At that time, the comedy thing was at its peak, and that's who they wanted. They wanted me. So.
Oh. Cool. This past Friday was a Dare Day Jamboree. Maybe you could tell us a little bit of that event. Both of you guys were extremely active in that as well.
Well, the Dare Day Jamboree.
It rained.
It did rain.
Maybe it's you now, Stanley.
We went inside, so it rained yesterday too, but we'll talk about that later.
He was involved in that also.
He was involved in that too, the African American Parade, right.
But it's a festive day to celebrate DARE, which stands for drug, help me out, I forgot.
Alcohol resistance education.
Drug alcohol resistance education, and we celebrate the entire program that we've been doing throughout the year, working with parents and youth at the Eric Slavin Center, where we bring the military, the police, the city, a number of the agencies that work on alcohol and drug prevention with our youth, as well as the family. And we have over 500 youth who come out to the event. They get a petting zoo, they get free food, just a big celebration, a jamboree as you like to call it.
Alonzo, how can the parents reinforce the officers' message during the DARE program?
Well, there needs to be a reteaching at home. The parents need to really reinforce what's being taught in school and with the DARE officers. The DARE education takes place for the 5th grade, so at the city, and some of the parents need to make sure that that message is conveyed to the children over and over and over.
And Alonzo, the most important message is to stay away from drugs and alcohol.
Exactly. And also the violence that they mentioned. Stay away from drugs, stay away from alcohol, and violence resistance. So that's the message.
And we've retrained our DARE officers in order to teach gang resistance in the schools, and this is the first year we did it. Right. You see it being receptive at all?
Yeah, they're going with a program called GREAT now, and it takes DARE to another level. And you see the reaction from the students. They really love it, the teachings of the DARE officers. And not only just the students that are active this year in the 5th grade level. I'm talking about students who have gone on to the high school and they come back and they say, "Hey, Officer so-and-so," you know, and they sit there and talk to them like it just happened yesterday. So the teachings are doing very well, and the kids are finding friends with the DARE officers.
You see the same thing, Stanley, in the Haitian community?
Definitely. The transition of taking it to another level and leaving the 5th grade and taking it to the high school and middle school levels is definitely being a great impact, and the youth are definitely getting a chance to, you know, not look at the police as more of an authoritative figure, but more of somebody they can actually talk to and bond with. And not just the police officers, but also the other agencies and people that work with the police officers, they're building a strong bond with. You know, so there is change taking place.
Stanley and Alonzo, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show. And
Stanley Rain Neron from now on.
Stanley the Rain Neron is how we're going to call him, because all the events he's part of.
Thank you, Hamburger.
Yeah. We want to put a plug in for Alonzo Hamburger Jones, right? Because he's at the Cavalier Diner sometimes on Wednesday nights, correct?
He didn't really tell us why he became the Grand Marshal, but it's okay.
Okay.
For Alonzo Jones and Stanley Neron, for Jonathan Phillips and Sergeant Jimmy Kearns. I'm Chris Bollwage. Happy Mother's Day. We'll see you all next week on another edition of Our City, when Youth View will be held, where students from our city will have their own show here on the Mayor's TV show. Thank you for watching.